We're just trying to make awareness of a lot of women being missing these days, you know.
I understand.
I know you've been seeing it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
You got a wife, you got kids, and you got people out here just snatching them up.
Well, you guys are doing a wonderful job, man. I appreciate all y'all's help.
Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ, blessed Captain Palu with Israel United in Christ. What we out here doing today, we out here in the neighborhoods trying to find our people, all right? What you see above us is the missing people flyer. In our neighborhoods, in Oklahoma by itself, there's 121 reported cases of people that's being taken for sex trafficking. So there's no news about it on the internet. There's no way to find out. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take matters in our own hands to make sure that we're going into the neighborhoods and searching for our people, all right? So that's what we're doing. We out here campaigning for the missing people campaign to make sure that we put in our brick in our community so we can bring our people home, all right? Most of the people that's being taken is blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in our communities. So we must do something about it. And I challenge you to do something about it as well, all right? Shalom, Most High in Christ bless.
Israel United in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a nonviolent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1. Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ bless. Shalom. Happy Feast of Unleavened Bread to all of y'all out there. I wish we had some hand clapping sound effects because the Unleavened Bread week definitely has been good to me. My wife made some sweet potato unleavened bread. Brothers and sisters, I must say, if you're not on sweet potato unleavened bread, you need to get on sweet potato unleavened bread.
Hey,
Moment of silence for the sweet potato unleavened bread.
All praises.
Moment of silence. Hey, but we back, man. Passover was off the chain. If you wasn't in Orlando, you wasn't there. And you deserve shame.
Shame.
No, I'm just playing. Some of y'all, hey, bro, next year, y'all better be there wherever they hold Passover because it was definitely. I had to hold back some tears, bro.
Yeah, me too, bro.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I had to hold back some tears. It was like right here in my throat. Right here. And I had to hold it back.
That's how you know he's serious about holding it back. He said his throat.
My throat. But look, we got a good show today. We're gonna talk about the history of the Maroons. All right. The moron Moors call them the Maroons. They call everything Moor. Like everything is Moor. Crazy.
So they're black rooms.
Yeah, they're black runes. They're black blacks. They're black blacks.
Idiots.
But before we get into that, we want to get with Officer Micah with the Watchman Report.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless. Good to be back. All right, let's get right into it. So in Brazil, they are building new Jesus statue even taller than Rio's Christ the Redeemer. Why not just build affordable housing? But they choose to build Caesar Bowl. Next article, please. Kenosha officer who shot Jacob Blake won't face discipline, police chief says. I'm not surprised by that one. Next article, please. Virginia officer who pepper sprayed black Army lieutenant is fired. Revealed why cops are scared of losing their jobs. He'll probably just get another job in another state. Next article, please. No apology on for pepper spraying black and Latino Army officer in Virginia, police chief says. See, that just goes to show you. Hey, we ain't got to apologize. We sprayed him. It is what it is. Ain't going to apologize. They just transfer his file over and he'll get a job somewhere else. We ain't apologizing. Next article, please. Army sergeant. Everybody out here defending this great nation. Pushes black man, demands he leave neighborhood in viral video. He said, look, Negra, either you leave or I'm carrying you up out of here. Then he shoved him. So y'all can go check it out for yourself. Next article, please. Chicago police says body cam footage shows less than a second pass from when 13-year-old is seen holding a handgun and is shot by officer. Yeah, I saw that video. If you don't have a strong stomach, you may not want to watch it. You know, just pray for Northern Kingdom. Next article, please. House panel votes to advance bill on slavery reparations. Uh-oh. They passed stimulus. Might get some reparations out the deal. We'll see. Next article, please. All right, this concludes the Washington Report.
So with all the Negroes still getting murdered by police, Biden gonna keep them asleep by telling them, hey, don't worry about it. We gonna fight for reparations. Now this fight for reparations is gonna take months.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna take months, possibly years.
Years.
And then, in the end, you still ain't gonna get nothing.
He got to give him something. He want to get reelected. He gonna give him something.
They might get something. And what makes me say that is that episode of Dave Chappelle. Is when they did the reparations, the economy went up.
Hey, black people are liquid money.
Yeah.
But, some of them black people, maybe 1/3 of them black people, ain't going to do that. So, watch yourself. Watch yourself. So, what we starting with today, Officer Mikael? What we starting with? I know you said you want to start with a certain article.
So, y'all see the title of the show. The title of the show is, you say you are not your ancestors. You're right, because they fought back. There's a movement out there that people, these so-called protesters that are marching and I can't breathe and all this, they got T-shirts made saying we are not our ancestors. You'll catch these hands. Oh, really? So our ancestors didn't fight back. That's what y'all saying. Well, we got some history today that's going to prove them wrong. So let's start with this first article. Could somebody read that for me?
Yes, sir. Saying I am not my ancestors blatantly disrespects how they lived and died for us.
All praises. Somebody sees the foolishness in it. Hey, we need to blow that up 150 times.
In 2016, arguably the peak.
Hey, yeah, hey.
Okay,
I
can see it. Go ahead.
In 2016, arguably the peak of activist apparel popularity, a number of businesses began to sell T-shirts, crew necks, tote bags, buttons, pins, and stickers with variations of the following. I am not my ancestors. You can catch these hands.
Hey, you know what's crazy? When you read that first paragraph, they're telling you, in the midst of the atrocities that happen with our people, there's somebody out there that's capitalizing off of it monetarily.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we get shot down in the street and we come up with slogans, and they come up with slogans, especially the Christian pastors, they come up with slogans at these rallies and stuff like that. Somebody out there is like, hey, I'm going to take what he said and put it on a T-shirt.
Every time.
And I'm going to make merchandise out of it. That is sick. That is sick. You're right, you ain't your ancestors. Because when our ancestors rebelled, they didn't make no money. When we rebelled, they make all kind of money. Yeah, you could burn up what state that was? Wisconsin? Minnesota?
Yeah, they trying to burn up Minnesota right now, yeah.
I bet you they come up with fire T-shirts talking about stop Minnesota rioting. It's going to sell. Go ahead, read on.
It is understandable why variations of this phrase caught on so quickly. The last 5 years have inspired a new generation of activists and organizers. A lot of us unfamiliar with the history of the movement for racial justice and with the philosophies of the black nationalists who came before us. Many of us only know the movement as depicted in history textbooks and as articulated by white history teachers in our high schools. Many of us only know the portrait of docile Negroes, of turning the other cheek, and of the black victim complex.
Now, see that whole turning the other cheek, that is a misnomer. When Christ said turn the other cheek, he was talking about be a friend to your enemy of your people, meaning your brother.
Hey, you know what's crazy? How they put that? It said many of us only know the portrait of docile Negroes, of turning the other cheek. That's the Christian church.
Yes.
And that's why when we as true men of God actually speak the words of God straight from the Bible, everybody got everything to say about it. That's a misconception. That's your interpretation. Y'all false prophets. Y'all are teaching hate when we're only reading the Bible out loud. That's all we doing. We're not them docile Negroes that y'all used to. So in turn, y'all meet us with resistance because it's not something that you used to. Y'all used to the praise the Lord, Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. Let me do this in John 3:16. Colossians 3:28. No, we not them. We the brothers is gonna tell you where you wrong at. And that's what our ancestors did.
Yep.
They told your black behind that you was wrong. What Harriet Tubman say? And she say she would have saved a whole lot more.
If they knew they were slaves.
You know what I'm saying? That's what our ancestors did.
Yep.
You caught hands with our ancestors and many other things. If somebody robbed a warship, pretty sure you caught some bullets too.
Yeah.
Read on.
Many of us are just now reading Black Feminist Thought.
Hold up. Stop. The black feminist mindset is the problem. That's why we have so many emotional Negroes out here now. Can we get the black feminist mindset in the Bible? Can we get Isaiah 3:12? Because I just wanted to pick that one part out of this article. Everything else is good, but that part right there.
This is Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them.
That's the black feminist mindset right there. Women rule over these young emotional men that are out here killing each other and getting themselves shot up in the streets. They just had somebody, I got the news break out while we was in Orlando. They carjacked a 73-year-old woman out here in New Orleans.
Yep, and drug her.
Carjacked her and drug her. That's the feminist mindset. That's the black feminist mindset right there. These single black mothers, independent women, raising young, effeminate, emotional black men that don't know how to be men. Read on in the article.
Many of us are just now reading Black Feminist Thought, Black Skin, White Mass, and related texts. Many of us are just now learning about Nat Turner, the Haitian Revolution, the Black Panther Party, and of black radical resistance throughout history. And so I put the blame on the merchants who are pimping out the struggle rather than on the young. Black organizers consuming these products.
The scriptures say they will make merchandise.
That's what you was just saying too, Officer Matthew, about how sick that is and how they profit off of our conditions. A lot of these merchants know this history and are actively choosing to sell this ahistorical, disrespectful apparel.
Hey, can we get that real quick? 2 Peter 2:3. He said, I also put the blame on the merchants who are pimping out the struggle rather than on the young. So you really can't blame the young people for acting out. They they haven't really been taught how to control their emotions. Fathers teach you how to control your emotions. Look at what most fathers have to go through. Most fathers have to go through bitter exes, using their children as weapons against them. Then we have to go into the world as black men, black fathers at that. And we have to, some of us have to put on a show. We have to put on a mask when we go to work. Some of us, we have to treat the earth like it's a pillow of cotton. Can't walk too hard. Can't make too many waves. You can't speak a certain way. You every time you pass that highway patrolman, you could just be going home. You're gonna look in your rearview mirror until he's out of your sight.
Yep.
Because why? You don't know if he's gonna just turn his lights on and pull you over. You have no idea what's gonna happen. But watch what this say.
2 Peter chapter 2, verse 3. And through covetousness shall they with vain words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not.
So those people that are using feigned words, I am a man, Black Lives Matter, stop the hate, let's come together, racial reconciliation. Those are feigned words. And they use that to make merchandise of you. How do they do that? Because you're emotional. That's why in order the pastor to get tires out of people, what do he say?
Will a man rob God?
And you like, man, hell no, I ain't gonna rob God. No, I would never do that. Let me give my money to show that I ain't gonna never rob God. But he in turn is robbing God and his people.
Bring it out.
That's what this article is going. They making money off of our deaths. As if they haven't been making money off our deaths enough.
Right. Read on.
I blame every single self-proclaimed activist, organizer, and radical doing similar things and refusing to coalition build or to support and to mentor young leaders.
So it says they blame every activist that refused to coalition build and mentor. Guess what? This is an organized nation you're looking at.
That's right.
We coalition build. We mentor. We ain't like, I'm going to say some names. We ain't like Umar Johnson. We ain't like Sinetta. We ain't like, what that other boy name is, Polite. We ain't like them. We ain't in it for the money. Keep your money. All we want you to do is pay attention and repent.
Bring it out.
Read.
The same activists who have been calling for all hands on deck since the inauguration of Donald J. Trump are the same activists who don't see Generation Z as capable of being organizers and leaders, who refuse to retweet the fundraisers and protest flyers without being paid, who do not care about what high school students are living through and resisting until D-Ray tweets about it, who were quick to participate in the March for Our Lives, but ignore the efforts of the black kids organizing against gun violence in the hood.
Because it's not monetarily beneficial.
Right.
If you stop gun violence in the hood, some people gonna be out of a job.
Mm-hmm.
The arms dealers, the police, the judge, the prosecutor, the public defender. Can't just go to the hood and start making changes like that.
And social media rose with pop culture, and guns are popular right now, so they know they're not going to get as many retweets and follows and hits and all of that. So, again, they thinking about their own pockets.
That's why they said you ain't going to care about it until D-Ray retweeted. Until a comedian or an actor or a celebrity that you acknowledge as somebody, until they speak on it.
Yep.
Right.
That's when, because black people's opinion is television. Bishop Yawasop say it all the time. Our people's opinion and thought process is television. Whatever's on TV this week, that's what they're going to do. If they're angry this week and they're happy next week, watch TV. Just see.
When Nick Cannon and Deshaun Jackson and Ice Cube said we were the Israelites, You know, I had family members hitting me up saying, hey, Ice Cube said the same thing you've been saying. So you listening now? Because Ice Cube said it? Been telling you this for 10 years. The hell is this? So yeah, that's exactly what it is. When a rich man speak,
Go ahead and get that Sirach 13:23.
yeah.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 13, verse 23. When a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue.
So when rich people speak, everybody shut up and listen. Read.
And look what he said. They extol it to the clouds.
They extol it to the clouds. When Kendrick
Kendrick
Lamar
Lamar.
said, "I'm an Israelite, don't call me black no more," you know how many people was hitting us up? Oh,
Bruh.
bro, Kendrick Lamar, he said the same thing y'all been saying.
Yep.
What? We've been saying this thing for years, bro. Like, come on. I told you last week we was Israelites. You
For
said, nah,
real.
bro. We all children of God. And no shot at Kendrick Lamar, but it's just showing you his status in life is a lot higher than mine. His pockets are a lot deeper than mine.
Yep.
So whatever he says, people are going to listen to it.
Listen.
That's why Esau is so quick to touch celebrities like that and threaten celebrities like that and put their image in the media as being crazy or in a cult or being brainwashed. And they put certain titles, Hebrew Israelism, and he's part of the cult of the black Hebrew Israelites and stuff like that.
Extremists.
Black identity extremist.
Like my identity is extremism in this country.
It is extreme to be an Israelite.
Yeah.
It is.
Read.
But if the poor man speak, they say, what fellow is this?
Yep.
Because we
That's
ain't
what
got
they
no
do.
money. We ain't got no
That's what
money.
they do.
We don't have no ends.
Hey, look, I'm make it plain for y'all. That scripture just said, when the poor man speak, they be like, who is this nigga and what is this nigga talking about?
Yep, bring it
Real.
out.
I've had remember people used to do that to us. What do you do for a living?
Yep.
You cut them up with the scriptures. What do you do for a living?
That's what they do.
What accolades do you have? Did you go to college?
Obviously, y'all can't be doing much with yourselves. Y'all on the corner on a Saturday screaming at people.
Yeah.
Saturday is the day of rest.
Yeah.
You got 6 days to work.
Was that in that scripture?
Add a little more.
Get that.
But if the poor man speak, they say, what fellow is this? And if he stumble, they will help to overthrow him.
Because if one of us is out there, they see, oh, you that brother that be talking about the Bible all the time, talking about the law, the law, the law. Look at you now. Look at you now.
Yeah, they'll come
And I'll show
together
you.
on that.
I'll give you an example of help to overthrow. Somebody attacked the camp years ago. We had to restrain them. When the entire crowd came against us,
Yes.
they had more people come against us. They didn't
Yes.
even know what was going on. They just knew that them Negroes that be yelling at people all the time is in the midst of some stuff right now. We could jump them. All praise to the Most High, we didn't get jumped. But
All praises.
still, like the scriptures say, they will help to overthrow us. Because we poor, but we speak with wisdom. Go ahead.
Read on the article.
Yes, sir.
One of the biggest problems I have with the I am not my ancestors mantra is that the movement for black liberation today would be so much better off if we were our ancestors.
Hey, read that part again.
One of the biggest problems I have with the I am not my ancestors mantra is that the movement for black liberation today would be so much better off if we were our ancestors. Like Francis Thomas, Ida B. Wells, and Marsha P. Johnson.
Read on.
Arturo A. Schomburg and all the Afro-Latinxes resisting the anti-blackness throughout Latin America. Fred Hampton, Asada Shakur, Marcus Garvey, and Barbara Smith, our ancestors who refused to allow Europeans to scramble for Africa, who led and participated in slave rebellions, who ran to freedom.
So much like the people we about to read about today. Hey, that's it on that article. That's it. Y'all can take that article off, put the video on for me. Much like the ancestors we about to learn about tonight. So, could we please put the disclaimer up? We don't want to get flagged. We do not own the rights to this video. This video is owned by Black Entertainment Television. Let's make sure we get the disclaimer up. All right. Play the video.
Peace, and welcome to The Breakdown. I'm your host, Clarity. Now, there is so much misinformation out there about Black history, especially when it comes to slavery and Jim Crow. Now, you leave it to Hollywood, and they'll make you think that Harriet Tubman was...
A lot of that misinformation is that this book right here is a white man's book. This is the blackest book on the planet.
Bring it out.
Everything in this book is black. From the front cover to the back is Black history, it's Black present, and Black future. Play on.
Was the only one who ever got free. And that Nat Turner is the only one who ever fought back. Nothing could be farther from the truth. See, the fact is, Africans constantly rebelled against their enslavement for the entire time slavery existed. Many of those rebellious Africans escaped to freedom in other countries, but some remained right here in the United States and started their own free Black towns. In America, they will call them fugitives or runaways. Around the world, these self-liberated Africans were known as the Maroons. Now, who exactly are the Maroons? How were they able to free themselves from captivity? And what can African Americans learn today from our Maroon ancestors in North America and around the world? We'll answer these questions and many, many more right now on The Breakdown.
The Breakdown.
There is a disconnect in America when it comes to Black history. It is a disconnect between the reality of this history and the distorted impression many young people have today. In recent years, memes and t-shirts have appeared saying, "I'm not my ancestors, I'll put my hands on you," or "I'm not my ancestors, I don't turn the other cheek," all in response to a common misnomer about the ways in which oppressed Black people in America responded to their condition in the past. Because of the often limited ways in which the history of slavery and civil rights is taught.
Hey, can we
in
pause it real
Western
quick?
school
Just want to get that out there that our ancestors didn't believe in turn the other cheek. Our ancestors, they fought, but they were overpowered. That was the thing. That spirit, that warrior spirit that we used to have, it was taken from us. So there was no turn the other cheek until Martin Luther King came around. That's when that was widely pushed. And as far as I'm concerned, he's not an ancestor. He's more like
Our uncle.
you know what I'm saying? Like an ancestor is like somebody that's like 2-3 generations away.
Right.
That's one generation. Some of the people still alive from 65.
Yep.
So let's not act like that it was our ancestors way back in the cotton fields talking about turn the other cheek. Why would they do so many rebellions? Why would they have to blot out so many rebellions from history?
You know, John St. Malo wasn't turning the other cheek. Charles Deslandes wasn't turning the other cheek. Toussaint L'Ouverture wasn't turning the other cheek.
And the Maroons wasn't turning the other cheek.
They know about Nat Turner, but he wasn't turning the other cheek either. Play on.
systems, many young people have come away with the impression that African American ancestors were docile victims, too afraid to stand up for themselves and fight for their right to live. They believe that except for the occasional demonstration or revolt, all their ancestors mostly did was keep their heads low, cried, sung, and prayed for freedom.
Hey, pause it. See, a lot of our people, they come up against us with that same mindset today. Oh, y'all got the Bible. What y'all gonna do? Pray pray our enemies away. No, we got to stand and fight. Not understand. You know what? Can we get Sirach 36 real quick? Sirach 36. Not understanding the power that's in prayer and what to pray for.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 36, verse 3. Lift up thy hand against the strange nations, and let them see thy power. As thou wast sanctified in us before them, so be thou magnified among them before us. And let them know thee, as we have known thee, that there is no God, but only thou, O God. Show new signs, and make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand and thy right arm, that they may set forth thy wondrous works. Raise up indignation, and pour out wrath. Take away the adversary, and destroy the enemy.
You can stop right there. That's what we pray for when we pray to the Most High, the destruction of our enemies.
Right.
It ain't just a song and dance and, oh, pray for better days. No. Our God wasn't docile. His people ain't docile. God said he's a man of war, and we're created in his image.
Yeah. See, the thing is, with people, when they get stuff, they say, thank you, Lord.
Right.
Because they say, oh, God got this for me. God has delivered this into my hand. God gave me this amount of money. I hit the lotto because it was in God's will.
But they don't think God's going to deliver freedom.
Exactly. They don't think their freedom is in God's will. They don't think that justice is in God's will. They want justice from the same people that kill you. But you got to understand that there's a God who is fighting for you. All you got to do is listen.
Right.
Get
right.
Zechariah 4:6 real quick. All you got to do it. If it's easier said than done, because this walk is not easy. But all we got to do is listen. It's really all we got to do. Read the Bible, do what it say do, and don't do what it says don't do.
Zechariah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds easy. It sounds easy, but that's the gist of the whole thing. Do what he said to do, and don't do what he said don't do. Obey him. There's things to do, things not to do. All we got to do is that. Look at all the people that tried to pick up weapons and all of that stuff before. Even all of the slave revolts. It showed us that our people wasn't no joke, but they all came to nothing. Read that.
Zechariah chapter 4, verse 6. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, This is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying, Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts.
So might and power, our power is not going to get us out of this. It's going to be the Spirit of the Lord. But the Spirit of the Lord was on our foremothers and forefathers to show us, hey, we not going to take this land down. Why? Because it's prophesied. Judah, your hand shall be at the neck of your enemies. It's prophesied that we was going to fight back all the time.
Yep.
No matter what, we was going to fight back. When we fought back, all the other tribes followed in suit.
You know, Officer, go ahead, Officer Mike.
Can I get scripture? 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 12. Because what Officer Matthew said, we fight a different type of fight. Our people get carnal. They think, oh, we're going to go protest. We're going to go do this. We're going to go do that. No, we just got to keep the faith of Christ. 2 Timothy chapter 2 tells us that we got to endure hardness as good soldiers of Jesus Christ. Verse 12. Could we warn? Read that.
1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 12. Fight the good fight of faith.
You got to have faith because that's what Esau is going to. Other nations are going to attack. Even our own people, they're going to attack your faith. They're going to attack this. They want you to think this is a white man's book. This is our history book. Read on.
Lay hold on eternal life.
Because once we start keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, Christ's return, game over. Who don't want to live forever? Who want to live? I want to live forever. Read.
Whereunto thou art also called, and has professed a good profession.
Come on.
Before many witnesses.
And then when people start witnessing this thing, because a lot of people are starting to wake up because they know what this Bible says. A lot of people are seeing what's going on in the world. It ain't what it's supposed to be. And they know that it's something more out there that's missing. It's these laws, statutes, and commandments. That's all I had, Officer.
Right. It goes back to what Officer Matthew was saying earlier about what Bishop Yawasop would say about the opinion coming from TV. They know our ancestors to be docile and weak and so on and so forth because that's what Esau always put at the forefront. They try to hide whole revolts like the 1811 revolt, like we covered on the show. Things like when our forefathers, our ancestors did fight back, that's not widely known because they push the coons, the sambos, sing and dance. And that's why IUIC TV is so important because we're bringing that imagery back.
That's right. Play on.
But even a brief examination of the full history of slavery and Jim Crow in the U.S. will prove that the opposite is true. Africans sustained a relentless and formidable fight against slavery from the very beginning and continued to do so for hundreds of years. In many cases, enslaved Africans in North America successfully liberated
You
themselves.
can
by
pause it
the
real quick.
dozens.
What our people don't understand, like, yeah, they're in an actual war, but a lot of our forefathers, they always called on the Lord. And when you examine the scriptures, they always called on the Lord to fight for them. Before they even went in the battle, they would call on the help of the Lord. You can play on.
And even by the hundreds through armed resistance and escape. They went north to Canada, south to Mexico, and overseas to the Caribbean. Others escaped and remained right here in the United States, joining forces with Native American tribes or starting their own.
Hey, pause
free
that.
black
They knew they were the same people.
Why would they join forces with Native Americans? The young man down at the end that speak too much jumped the gun down there. Jumped the gun on my point. Yeah, but they knew they was the same people. Play on.
towns, which they defended for generations. We call these self-liberated Africans the Maroons.
There was resistance from minute one. In fact,
That sister, hey, pause it real quick. That sister they just showed the picture of, her name is Nanny of the Maroons. Y'all need to look her up. Play on.
in terms of being forced to get on the slave ships in the first place. As early as the 1520s, the Spanish had brought enslaved Africans to the territory north of today's Florida. The Maroons were self-liberated Africans who were able to escape from the jurisdiction of the Spanish and set up their own communities, or in some cases, the Africans defected to the indigenous side, chased the Spanish back to the Caribbean.
The presence of Maroons was not limited to the United States and can be found all over the Western Hemisphere. Just about anywhere in history enslaved Africans are found, you'll also find Africans who fought back against their enslavers and won.
Perhaps the most profound episode in the history of African people, including African people in North America, is the Haitian Revolution, 1791 to 1804, when the enslaved rose up as one in one of the most important revolts in the history of the world. And that is a story that we all need to study and learn. Now, with regard to other examples, I
pause
would
it.
point
Shout out to Levi, man. Toussaint L'Ouverture and them brothers rose up and put Napoleon to flight. He ran the French up out of Haiti. So much so that they called the land Haiti. They called the people there hell because they gave them hell.
You know what's crazy? They always say Africans. Yes, these Africans did this, and these Africans, they was Israelites.
Yes, they were.
Period.
But they used the term African today much like they used the term Ethiopia or Ethiopian back in the day.
Yeah.
All black faces were Ethiopian because it's a vague term to keep your identity hidden.
Exactly. These brothers that were fighting for their freedom, doing these revolts, these wasn't no Africans. We have a whole book, 2 books, 1st and 2nd Maccabees, about the spirit of the warrior mindset that our people had.
That's right.
And Maccabees still was going on in the time of Toussaint Louverture, time of these rebellions. That spirit hopped in all of them leaders.
Hey, it's funny that you bring up the Apocrypha, because in the Caribbean islands to this day, the Apocrypha is banned. Why? Because the spirit of revolt is in the Apocrypha, in the Maccabees.
Can we read a little bit of it?
Yes.
First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 66. My favorite book right here.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 66. As for Judas Maccabeus,
read.
He had been mighty and strong,
Come on,
even from his youth up.
So he was a warrior at a young age. Read.
Let him be your captain.
Come on.
And fight the battle of the people.
So he was fighting the battle for not for his own gain, for his people. Read.
Take also unto you all those that observe the law.
Read.
And avenge ye the wrong of your people.
So our people never had that turn the other cheek mentality. He said, avenge your people. Not everybody, your people. Read.
Recompense fully the heathen, and take heed to the commandments of the law.
So it always come back to the law. Take heed to the commandments of the law. Our people weren't out there just killing willy-nilly. They were following God's laws. They weren't out there just going wild and crazy. They come back to the laws. Let's jump down to chapter 3, verse 1. I'm trying to be quick.
First Maccabees chapter 3, verse 1.
Read.
Then his son Judas, called Maccabeus, rose up in his stead.
Read.
And all his brethren helped him.
So they weren't against each other. They were on the same mind. Read.
And so did all they that held with his father.
So they were doing what they like Officer Mikael's point. They were listening to what their father told them, not the mother. The mother wasn't raising them. The father raised them. And he told them, this is what y'all need to do. They had the same mind that their father instilled in them. Read.
And they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel.
Jump down to verse 4.
Verse 4. In his acts, he was like a lion.
That's why they call him, what they call him on there, officer?
They called him hell.
They call him hell. The brother was like a lion. I don't think people watch Animal. Go on Animal Planet and just look at a young lion and see how they move. They called Levi hell. Dang, read.
In his acts, he was like a lion, and like a lion's whelp, roaring for his prey.
You ever seen a hungry lion? That's how that brother, he was fierce. This brother was no joke.
Hey, that's how you know that the Bible can't be a white man book.
At all.
Because our people read this and saw themselves in it and decided to use the example that was written to revolt. White people saw this and said, we got to take it out. Their spirit didn't bear witness with it.
Right.
Like the scriptures say, the spirit bear witness with our spirit that we the children of God.
That's right.
Obviously, they're not the children of God because they decided to take this out the Bible.
Hey, Sandy L., we know all about the Maroons of St. Bernard Parish. That's Jean St. Malo and all them that took over the whole East Bank of New Orleans, whole New Orleans East, and just ran the whole city away from over there.
Yeah, we did a show on that before.
Yep. Hey, play on.
To Palmares in Brazil. It's probably one of the most successful so-called maroon settlements in the history of the Americas. They escaped the jurisdiction of the slave owners, set up their own community, which lasts for about 100 years.
In fact, Africans successfully fought back against enslavement so often that the European investors in the slave trade started taking out insurance policies to protect their financial stake in the case of a rebellion or the loss of a slave ship.
Stop. Heavy point. Heavy point.
Heavy point.
Heavy point. Even if they lost, they still got paid money.
Yes.
So, our people rebel today. Our people get shot by the police. They revolt. They break into stores. They burn stuff. They do whatever.
And Esau still gets paid.
Esau still gets paid.
They got a GoFundMe.
Same thing.
They got a GoFundMe. They got insurance.
They pension. They insurance. They got all kind of stuff. Yep.
So the more we mess up, the more they get paid.
It's not uncommon for Africans to overpower the European slave traders and give them a taste of their own medicine.
There were instances of the enslaved, or the potentially enslaved, I should say, taking over the ships and sailing the ships back to Africa, with the would-be enslavers becoming captives. So I'm not sure where this mythology about not rebelling came from.
Although many Africans were successful fighting back and evading capture,
You know what's
it goes
crazy?
without saying.
Hey,
They
that brother
would-
right there, bad man.
Hey, yeah, Robert Smalls, yeah, that's bad, bro. They would say we are so uncivilized, uneducated, we weren't very sophisticated, things of that sort. How did they know how to navigate the ships to get back home? They would take the ships and sail back home. They kick Esau's behind, kick white, red devil all over the boat, and then they take the boat and sail back home. How they know how to do that?
Probably since they've been coming back and forth since before Christ, but
Yeah, well,
we
yeah,
ain't
okay,
gonna talk about
okay. All right.
And then it's crazy that you say about taking the ships and navigating. It paused on Robert Smalls.
That
who
brother
did
there
that.
took a warship, a whole war destroyer, and impersonated a captain and sailed his people to freedom.
Yep.
Dang.
play on. We gonna get there.
That many more were unable to avoid the brutal voyage through the Middle Passage. But the human spirit and desire for freedom is strong. And even after arriving on the shores of North America, the African fighting spirit remained and endured. So much so that Africans continued to resist and rebel, some finding allies among local indigenous Americans, while others sought refuge in terrain too hostile for slave catchers
That's
to
in New
risk
Orleans.
the pursuit.
Yes.
Well, Florida is
Well, that's
probably
Florida right there, but
site
New
number
Orleans
one,
swamps, the same
not
thing.
least because of solidarity from the indigenous populations. In fact, there was a de facto merger. And then, of course, there's the Dismal Swamp area, when Nat Turner, the great slave rebel of the 1830s, rose up with his comrades in one of the bloodiest revolts of the enslaved in the history of the United States. They were trying, apparently, to seek sanctuary in the Dismal Swamp area. The terrain
pause that.
is difficult.
It's natural for our people to run into these areas where they would have an advantage, because they know Esau didn't know the terrain, but they got with the so-called indigenous people, our people that have been here, because they came here earlier, and they learned the terrain.
How was they able to communicate?
Because they spoke the same language. But
Spoke
you know
the same
what, though?
tongue.
It's heavy that we going over this class at this time, because Passover is a celebration of rebellion
Right.
and getting freedom out of captivity.
Yes.
So we're going to take the break now? Or?
Yeah, we're going to take that break. All right. Look, we're going to take a partial break so that y'all can find out what's going on in the nation of Israel from Officer Mikael with the Watchman Report. Cornerstone News. Cornerstone News.
Hey, Shalom Israel. This is your brother, Officer Mikael, and this is Cornerstone News. So, Passover. Happy Passover, y'all. Happy Feast of Unleavened Bread. I want to give an unleavened bread shout out, too. Hey, bro, I ain't know you can make Reese's unleavened bread till the other day. Yeah, Reese's unleavened bread. I'll tell you about it. Hey, but let's play this Shout Out Tuesday.
Watch what this pastor and his lovely wife, Christy, had to do with a brother. Watch this clip.
Pastor found dead in his home in Ada, Oklahoma this week. Police say 50-year-old Dave Evans murdered, but they have not identified any suspects or made any arrests. Evans leaves behind a loving family and congregation.
50-year-old Dave Evans was a beloved pastor in Ada, Oklahoma. And as you heard from the news report there, he had previously been a pastor in Fort Smith, Arkansas. His congregations loved him. He was a brilliant theologian. He was funny. He was caring. Why would anyone want to kill this man?
Pastor Dave Evans was shot and killed while home with his wife in Ada, Oklahoma, the morning of March 22nd, 1 week after returning home from a mission trip in Mexico.
Pastor Dave had been shot beside his loving wife at point-blank range by what she described as an intruder that had burst into their house. She would call 911. When they got there, he was severely injured and would pass away from his wounds.
Dave was very, very energetic pastor, very driven to be a pastor and to do well.
According to the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations, when officers got to the scene, Dave was severely injured and
All
was
right, you can
unable
cut
to
that right there. Hey, for the rest of that Shout Out Tuesday to find out what happened, y'all go back to IUIC events and watch that. And hey, for y'all millennials and even some of y'all tech-savvy older folks, IUIC New Orleans now has a TikTok page. So make sure y'all go subscribe to that TikTok page. And while you're subscribing to TikTok, if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube page, help us reach 10,000 subscribers. You know, IUIC New Orleans at youtube.com. Hey, the three bishops. Y'all tried to destroy IUIC. Y'all tried to bring us down. But the Lord saw fit to bless us with more wisdom, more understanding. We got Bishop Yawasop now, and Bishop Kanai has been restored back to his bishopship. All praise to the Most High for that. That's an example of endurance. All right, next slide. All right, that concludes the Cornerstone News.
Hey, shalom, shalom, Israel. We are back. So look, going on with the Maroon history, all right? Go to that next article that says Benjamin history. So we gave y'all the preface, all right? Let y'all know that our ancestors, when they say we are not our ancestors, you doggone right you ain't. A lot of y'all soft. Your ancestors ran away from freedom barefoot. Some of y'all don't walk outside with shoes on. I know I don't. I have something on my feet at all times. Our ancestors walked barefoot some places. It was in all manner of terrain, swamp, rocks, mud, whatever. And they was getting to freedom. They was fighting.
Our ancestors stayed in the swamps with alligators. Some of y'all get scared when the alligator come up next to the canoe at the zoo.
Hey, also some of them, they be in some brush up against their leg, they coming up out of there.
Yeah,
for real.
Hey, water splash a little bit. They gotta go.
Sister scared of frogs. All right, let's read this real quick.
Maroon history. Columbus's discovery of Jamaica in 1494 began 2 centuries of Spanish rule. The Spanish enslaved the native Arawaks, who quickly died out from the depredations of slave life and the diseases brought by the European conquerors. The Spanish supplemented their dwindling workforce with African slaves, a practice replicated throughout the Spanish territories in the Caribbean and the Americas. By 1530, slave revolts had broken out in Mexico, Hispaniola, and Panama.
So in about 30 years, once they came over, so you know what happened? They came over, they conquered. The children that were born saw that conquering and decided to rise up. Right?
That's right.
Guess who we are?
Those children.
We those children. Read on.
The Spanish called these free slaves maroons, a word derived from cimarron, which means fierce or unruly.
Or what?
Or unruly.
Or unruly. Can I get Esther in the Apocrypha? I believe it's 13 and 8.
So they called us unruly. Why? Because we was giving them help?
Yes. Because we refused to lay down.
Because they was catching them hands.
Yes.
Hey.
The rest of Esther in the Apocrypha, chapter 13, verse 4.
Now this is Haman, his report of us. Read.
Declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people that had laws contrary to all nations, and continually despised the commandments of kings, so as the uniting of our kingdoms, honorably intended by us, cannot go forward.
Simply put, we was being unruly. That spirit was in us back then from the Persians. That's why the Maroons was called that, because they were fierce or unruly. Read on. In Jamaica.
In Jamaica, the Maroons occupied a mountainous region known as the Cockpit, creating crude fortresses and a culture derived from African and European traditions. Their numbers grew with each runaway slave, and the Spanish began to fear their power. In 1553,
3 years later,
Maroon revolts in Panama had forced the Spanish to the negotiating table.
how can you negotiate with somebody you came up in their house? What's that to negotiate? You gonna negotiate leaving?
Right.
And giving me my stuff back?
That's like on Hell on Wheels when they came to Northern Kingdom, like, we want to put you on reservations. He's like,
did you buy it?
Did you buy this? Did you trade for this?
Trade for it? So how do you own it?
How do you own it?
So Panama, that's Zebulon, Northern Kingdom.
Yep.
They whooped the Spaniards behind, made them bow down, came to the table begging, please.
Look, they got beat so bad. Look, let's talk about this, okay?
Yeah, they beat civil relations into them.
Read on.
And by 1580, Panamanian Maroons had allied themselves with British buccaneers, including Sir Francis Drake. This Maroon Buccaneer alliance posed a serious challenge to Spanish hegemony in the region.
So, what do you think a buccaneer is?
It's a pirate.
It's a pirate. So Zebulon linked up with the other British buccaneers or black pirates.
Yes, because those British pirates that they aligned with were black. Because the Brits were black originally.
Read on.
In 1655, the British conquered much of Jamaica, forcing the Spanish to flee to the northern coast. Rather than become slaves to new masters, vast numbers of Spanish slaves took this opportunity to join the Maroons in the hill country. At first, Maroon resistance impeded British efforts to drive the Spaniards from Jamaica, prompting one Spanish commander to conclude that the Maroons were loyal to the Spanish crown.
Which they weren't.
Right.
Which they weren't. But you got to understand, in Jamaica, who's there? Benjamin. Why was they fighting so much? Get Genesis 49 real quick. Verse 27.
But think about this, though. Why wouldn't they side with the Spaniards to drive out the British? Because they already done whooped the Spaniards behind. They know they can beat them already.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're going to side with y'all, help y'all beat them, and then we're going to whoop y'all again and stay free.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 27. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey.
So in the morning, that's those revolts that they was having. It said they lived in mountainous ranges that were fortresses. They knew the area, they knew the land, and every time they had somebody that revolted, come join us. They devoured the prey. Read.
And at night he shall divide the spoil.
And at night, that's what they did. They was joining with the pirates, and they was massacring everything. Everything. That's why a lot of the pirates was called Maroons.
Can we get a script to go with what Officer Matthew's saying? Because what you brought out was a heavy tactical point that Benjamin knew.
Yeah.
Judas 7 and 10. Like the officer was saying how they talked about the mountains, how they were strategically placed. That's how like Officer Mikael was saying. They kicked the Spanish behind all over the place. And then they like, okay, we'll just go back and just whoop they behind when we get done busting them up.
Hey, that's the same thing Gaspar Young and them did.
Yeah.
They had mountainous
Yep.
ranges, and they was whooping Esau behind.
It's right
And
here.
they called Gaspar Young and them Maroons as well.
Read verse 8 and then jump to verse 10.
Judith chapter 7, verse 8. Then came unto him all the chief of the children of
So
Esau,
here come your fervent white man. Read.
and all the governors of the people of
The
Moab,
Chinese, come on.
and the captains of the sea coast,
Read.
and said,
Uh-huh.
jump down to verse
Yeah,
10.
go to verse 10.
For this people of the children of Israel
So Benjamin, the Israelites, read.
do not trust in their spears,
But they knew how to use them. Come on.
but in the height of the mountains.
But in the what?
But in the height of the mountains.
So you got to think that's a tactical advantage. Like, okay, we got the high ground. We got the high ground. If they come up here, it's a landslide. And then Esau and Moab, like, man, look, they're gonna tear us up. We try to take them head on. Cause they knew, our people knew what the hell they were doing. They weren't. Our people weren't. They always try to make it seem like we uncivilized. Read that part again. What did Israel do?
For this people of the children of Israel do not trust in their spears.
They knew how to operate them jokes. Read.
But in the height of the mountains
Read.
wherein they dwell.
Uh-huh.
Because it is not easy.
No, it's easy.
Because it is not easy to come up to the top of their mountain.
You're not coming up there without getting your behind whooped. That's why the Spanish got their behinds woe out.
Hey, this is how you know also throughout history who Israelites are.
Yep.
Hannibal. What did Hannibal do? He used the mountains.
Yep.
He used the mountains. Come on now.
The Spirit bear witness
It
with
do.
our spirit that we are the children of God. We just went through Northern Kingdom. We just went through Benjamin, which is Southern Kingdom, Judah, all doing the same things that Officer Micah just brought out in the scriptures.
Hey, you can't forget Zebulon. Zebulon joined in too.
Zebulon and Issachar, because earlier it said the Mexicans.
Boy, they was getting it in. Hey, read on.
I'm gonna read that latter sentence because they go together. At first, Maroon resistance impeded British efforts to drive the Spaniards from Jamaica, prompting one of the Spanish commanders to conclude that the Maroons were loyal to the Spanish crown. The Maroons quickly dispelled this assumption.
Quickly. See, that was a chess move right there.
Yes.
They thought that we was loyal to Spain. But then when it came down to it, like, no.
No.
Hey, you know who else did that?
Reuben.
Yep.
Reuben did the same thing. Reuben said, all right, I'll rock with you.
I'll rock with you.
Psych.
That's stable as water. They read the scriptures, read the scriptures.
Read on.
Within 5 years, the British governor, Edward Deoley, built an alliance with the Maroon leaders, who quickly routed the Spaniards from their remaining settlements. By 1660,
Hey, hold up. So you know what they did? They picked the side that they knew was gonna win.
Yep.
By 1660, the last Spanish rulers had fled for Cuba.
So they ran to Cuba.
And ran into Manasseh.
Yep.
That's a more punishment.
Ran from a lion, ran into a serpent. Go ahead.
Imagine that. That's how it's going to be in the kingdom. For 3 years, the Maroon leader, Lubolo, served the British governor as a colonel and brought other Maroon factions into alliance with the British.
Because that's what they like to do. They like to, come join me. I don't have to join you.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that our people did. But we were very militant. Go ahead.
In 1663, another Maroon faction, led by Juan de Ceres, ambushed and killed Lubolo, initiating 8 decades of escalating tension with the British, who could not dislodge the Maroons from their mountain fortresses.
There you go right there.
We was putting our foot in British behind for 80 years in the
80
mountains up
years.
there.
In the mountains.
Yeah, that means generation after generation, we was teaching them how to whoop behind.
There you go. Tacticians.
By 1720, the Maroons took the offensive, mounting raids against British plantations along the base of the mountains. From 1729 to 1739, a state of open warfare existed between the British and the Maroons.
Hey, hold up. I just thought about something. From 1964, when we started the Civil Rights Movement, to 1980 is what, 16 years, right? Because 1980 is when the crack epidemic started. So not even 20 years. Not even 20 years of civil unrest in the United States. But they fought for 80 years against these people fighting for their freedom. So when you say you are not your ancestors, you're right. You're right. Our ancestors kept fighting.
Yep. And our ancestors didn't need a because drugs is a Band-Aid.
Yes.
They didn't need a Band-Aid. They didn't need an escape. They wanted to literally escape.
And they were seeing way worse things
or whatever.
than us. Huh? They were seeing way worse things than us.
Yeah. They were seeing dead bodies. A lot of our people, they ain't seen no black people getting blown to pieces and drowned, and seeing mothers with their babies getting cut out their stomach and all of that stuff. But yet, I got problems, so I smoke weed. Oh, you got problems. That's why you smoke weed.
Hey, look, our ancestors ain't go to no Trump rally, get hit upside the head by one so-called white man and get rescued by another so-called white man and say, oh, they're not all bad. When they went, they knew who their enemy was, and they whooped all of them.
And you
or tried to.
You gotta think the children. They were probably their upbringing was probably different. They probably knew how to treat a wound. They, like Officer Mika was bringing up, they knew who the enemy was. They weren't sitting around playing with marbles and everything. They were learning, okay, this is how you, them spears that they were talking about in the scripture, they know how to use them spears. This is how you fortify your position. This is how you make sure this is how the food, you prepare the food to make sure it don't go bad. They knew all this stuff. And they weren't, it wasn't no black on black crime. They weren't killing each other.
Hey, Officer Micah, think about it. As children in those times, the children had some animosity too, because you would be a pet of one of Esau's children. You would be a little play toy. You got a leash around your neck. So the children, they was in the same spirit as the adults.
Yep. Read on.
By 1720, the Maroons took the offensive, mounting raids against British plantations along the base of the mountains. From 1729 to 1739, a state of open warfare existed between the British and the Maroons.
For 10 years. Open out in the open. Serving them. Go ahead.
The first British governor, Robert Hunter, was frustrated by Jamaica's mountainous terrain, which the Maroon leaders used to their advantage.
Like Officer Micah brought out in Judith. we knew the mountains. Go ahead.
Them brothers in shape.
The Windward Maroons were led by Captain Cow, while the Leeward Maroons followed Cujo, a skilled and ruthless guerrilla warrior.
That just sounds like a brutal warrior right there. Cujo.
A skilled and ruthless guerrilla warrior.
Skilled and ruthless. You know what that means? Whoever he caught, it was a wrap.
No games.
No games played.
Skilled and ruthless.
Put the fork in it.
So in other words, they caught them hands and a whole lot more.
Oh, they caught them hands. They caught them hands and them foots. They caught
all
everything.
So he wasn't just ruthless. It said skilled. He was skilled at it. He was nice with it.
He knew what he was doing.
You can get it with either hand.
Yeah.
Then his name, Cujo.
He knew exactly how to pull your fingernails off and pour salt in it.
Yes.
Cujo. I ain't going to forget that name. Cujo.
Damn. Hunter died in 1734, and within 5 years, the British decided that the conflict would have to be resolved through negotiation.
That's what they try to do right now.
Hey.
Let's talk about it.
That slicker than oil tongue.
Let's talk.
Again, we whooped friendly relations into these people.
Hey, we beat them into civil rights.
That's right.
Yep. They figure if you can't beat them, join them. But But in actuality, they got us to join them by assimilation.
And that's what our people don't understand today. The plight of our people, that they were fighting for their lives, their freedom.
Yep.
Because if they lost, they knew what their fate was. A lot of our people, they don't have no motivation. They don't want to fight for anything.
I ain't a slave.
I ain't no slave. I'm free. I got a stimulus check.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's what they finally figured out. Give them gifts.
Yeah.
If you give them gifts and you give them certain freedoms, they'll forget all about the oppression.
Hey, can we get that? Ecclesiastes 7:7.
Bring
And
it
by the
up.
way, Ida, that statue in Mexico is of Gaspar Younger.
Gaspar Younger.
He was a black man.
That's right.
Remember, it said
Mighty
in
warrior.
up in the thing that they was putting aside, the Latinxers was putting aside their anti-black beliefs. Because believe it or not, a lot of y'all Northern Kingdom, especially the Hispanics, so-called Hispanics, y'all will look at us like we the enemy, and I'm the same color as a lot of y'all.
You talking about me, no Negro.
Talking about me, no Negro.
You
me
is
no
Negro.
But your grandma darker than me.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
You Negro. Your curly hair.
Y'all forget to mention that Abuela looks like Wesley. You know what I'm saying?
I know, right?
Dark as hell. On the island, just chilling. Every time you go see your patriarchs, you going in there and let one of us go. Yeah, this Abuela right here, like,
Hey, bruh.
look like Momo.
It's that damn statue.
Yeah, I'm telling you. That white angel with a white angel Michael stomping on the black Satan with the afro.
Yeah.
Telling y'all, y'all are Negroes too.
Yes.
It don't matter if you call yourself Afro-Latina, Afro-Hispanic, Afro-Mexican, Afro-Puerto Rican, Afro-Cuban. You's a nigga.
Hey, that what movie was that Bishop Yawasat was bringing out when the dude went to the club? I think it was a club scene. He was like, "Look, I'm not this, I'm not that." And the dude said, "Look, I don't care what kind of nigga you are. You can't come up. Y'all the same as us. They call you a nigga just like they do us. They don't discriminate.
Because guess what? When we revolt, y'all revolt.
Yes.
Yep.
Look at the Black Panthers and the Brown Berets.
Brown Berets.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
The Young Lords.
The Young Lords. What?
Aim.
Where did you get the idea?
I wonder who they're following.
We was in the same captivity. Still are. Judah and Israel are oppressed together.
Yep.
Hey, go to that next article.
Hey, real quick, let's get that Ecclesiastes 7:7 though.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
So we was oppressed, we got mad, we whooped they behind, but watch this.
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
So Esau got wise. Let's give him gifts.
Negotiations.
Let's give him gifts. Let's negotiate.
Let's tease him with slavery reparations.
Right.
Yep. Tell y'all. Because it wasn't just Negroes that was called Maroons. No. Northern Kingdom, y'all was called Maroons too. There you go. All right, read
Maroons?
that. Yeah, read that.
Maroons in Jamaica, Their Origins and Development by Suzette Benitez. We can trace the tale of the courageous runaway slaves, or Maroons of Jamaica, back to 1655, when the British captured that island. This crucial time in Jamaican history marked the end of Spanish power and the rise of an independent force in Jamaica, the Maroons. When the British conquered Jamaica, many of the Spanish inhabitants fled to neighboring Cuba, leaving behind their slaves.
Whoa. They didn't say they got their ass whooped and sent over there. Ran.
That's how Esau like the word stuff.
You know what I'm saying? They ain't say that. They just said that they fled and just left the slaves.
Or they'll call it a standstill.
What were they fleeing from?
What were they really fleeing
a standstill.
from? Was it the Loch Ness Monster?
Yeah.
Was it Bigfoot?
The Israelites.
What made them run?
The Israelites.
Boys. You know how they had a song, Bad Boys, Boys. What you gonna Israelites, what you gonna do?
Manas, sesame, snow, hey.
Right up
Read
the
on.
Israelites.
However, because the British soldiers were so few in number, they were only able to occupy the south side of the island. As a result, many Spaniards were able to remain in Jamaica and inhabit the north side of the island in a town then known as Sevilla Nueva. The Spaniards in Jamaica kept up communication with their former neighbors who were now living on the south side of Cuba, less than 24 hours away on sail. The Spaniards in Cuba would eventually be called upon to help those in Jamaica try to regain control of the island.
But let's see what happened, because the Spaniards, they was ducked off on one side of the island. It's an island. You could duck off.
You know what's crazy? That's like when King David was stomping the hell out of everybody. Y'all can stay over there. Let Solomon let him stay over there. That's the same thing. Yeah. That's what our people do. Like, I'm gonna allow you to exist over here.
Because I'm quite sure they knew that they was there.
Oh yeah.
It was like, let them live.
Yeah, we'll get them later.
Let them live. They make one move.
We got some for them.
Light them up.
Yep.
Go ahead.
In 1655, Don Arnaldo de Sassi, the old governor, 500 of the former inhabitants, and 1,000 troops from Old Spain landed in Rio Nuevo, east of Seville, where they built a fort. But the surprise attack was quickly suppressed when Colonel Deole, the English governor, arrived with 500 men from the south side of Jamaica and forced the Spanish to run back to their safe haven in Cuba.
So these people, just imagine this. These people are on our land, and they're fighting for control of a land that's not theirs, much like the fake Jews, the Ashkenazis, in Palestine.
Oh.
Yeah. They over there fighting over a land, fighting with each other over a land that don't belong to either one of them.
Because this is our land. This was inheritance to us, just like Israel was.
Right.
Read on.
It's something about that south side. They came from the south side instead of With the departure of the Spanish masters, about 1,500 slaves decided to seek refuge on the north and east sides of the mountains rather than to submit to the conquerors or follow the fortunes of their former owners.
Yeah. So where did they go? About 1,500 slaves decided to seek refuge in the north and east sides of the mountains. Where was the other maroon colonies? On the north and east sides.
Yep.
So that 1,500 went and joined like 20 more thousand.
Yeah. It wasn't by coincidence.
Nah. They ran and they met up with other Maroons. That's why in the other article it said the Maroons' numbers grew with every runaway slave.
Yep.
Go ahead.
As Dallas's History of the Maroons Volume 1 mentions, it is believed that for some time they were instigated by their former masters to commit hostilities against the new possessors of the country.
Yes, they were. Go ahead.
Although this idea seemed unlikely, the possibilities of communicating with their former slaves could have been accomplished since Cuba was so, they meant to put close right there, since Cuba was so close to Jamaica, and because the Spaniards were very familiar in navigating the Leeward Islands.
Hold on. Wait a minute. So they know how to navigate.
Yep.
Don't say.
Read on.
Located in different parts of the island, most of the Spanish slaves from the south side of Jamaica sought refuge in the mountains of Clarendon, where they were led by a chief named Juan de Bosas.
So they had structure. They had rank and structure.
Yep. Under his leadership, many of these Clarendon Spanish slaves attacked the British inhabitants of Jamaica.
So let me ask this. How come, and this is a shot to you dumb black Hebrew Israelites, how come they don't say that Jamaica is Spaniards? Huh? Why they don't say that Jamaica's a bunch of Spaniards?
See, you going into
y'all are Spaniards.
You going into the abyss of the destroyed Negro mindset.
You know what I'm saying? That's how you know it's that Willie Lynch colorism thing.
Uh-huh.
Read on.
as well as the other fugitive slaves of the island. However, once they were defeated and their leader slain, the Clarendon slaves began diminishing in number, never to return to their safe haven in the mountains.
Yeah, but guess what? They don't even tell you when that was.
Nope.
Because for 80 years, we know that they was getting waxed. The colonizers. They was getting waxed. Well, really, it was more than 80, because it was about 100 and some odd years, and they was getting smashed on every day. And a good 10 of that years was out in the open,
on site. After the quiet retreat of the Clarendon fugitives, the fugitive slaves that remained were given the name Maroons, which was taken from the Spanish word cimarrones, meaning unruly, fugitive, and wild.
You see how they try to label us wild, but
a fugitive.
But yet they established a commander, and then they weren't out there just swinging out wild and crazy. They had a chief.
But you know what's crazy? You know what's unruly? To leave from Britain and Spain because you don't like the government there. So you want to start your own government here.
Yeah,
and a lot of the so-called slave masters that was over here were ex-convicts and convicts.
Oh yeah.
And people that, were told, okay, the only way to get out of jail, you got to go on this boat ride to the end of the earth, and you might fall off. Because remember, they thought the earth was flat.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they would send convicts and criminals over on this side. That's why a lot of the slave masters were so diabolical and evil and wicked. Because they was evil and wicked over there. They was the fugitives. They was the wild men. They was the ones that was being unruly. And they came over here talking that nonsense and got their behind smashed.
You said the word colonizer earlier. It made me think about Black Panther. You know where they was at? They was in the mountains.
Yep.
Damn, that is true.
Read on.
The Spaniards used this term to refer to wild cattle that had escaped. Living mainly in the northern and eastern parts of the island, this surviving group of fugitive slaves waged war against Jamaica's English settlers.
Words.
Fugitive slave.
You can't be a fugitive slave. That does not exist. It's an oxymoron. You're a captive. You're going to try to escape.
Thank you.
Period. They weren't English settlers. They were thieves. They were criminals.
They were murderers.
They were stealing land that was not theirs.
They were vagabonds.
Yeah, they were settlers. They make it sound so sophisticated and peaceful. Settlers.
They didn't settle there.
They were the scum of the earth.
Hey, put it in Esau's terms. If you take a puppy and you put it in a box, what does the puppy try to do?
Escape.
He tries to climb out. He tries to get out and get to freedom.
Yep.
That's what any animal. You cage it, it's going to try to get out.
Then that animal's now a fugitive.
It's a fugitive now.
Of what?
That's why they refer to us as animals. Wildcats.
What was the sentence that we were running from? Read on.
However, another group of fugitives would soon arise. In 1690, a group of slaves from the Clarendon parish rebelled against their masters and sought refuge in the interior parts of the country. Through the recruitment of other plantation slaves, this new group of Clarendon fugitives increased in number and acquired the necessary provisions from the plantations of their newest recruits.
So they recruited. That sounds sophisticated.
Yeah.
And when they was recruiting, they was training.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to think too, because they at a small army. So you know how army they have like they have the recruiting team. It's like, bro, are you tired of getting your ass whooped, swinging this we out in this hot ass sun?
Yep.
Hey man, let's go join them brothers over there. You know they probably had a recruiter going around. They probably spoke. I've been just like, hey bro, you brethren, you're tired of working in the hot heat. I can't talk like Benji. That's probably how they were talking. They were tired of that. Talk about fugitive slaves.
Yeah. So they was teaching them. They was like, hey, This is how you navigate the land. Hey, this is how you make a weapon. Hey, this is how you do close hand-to-hand combat. This is how you do combat from afar. Look, you gotta imagine how strong we had to be to go up and down the mountains.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Our legs had to be on point. Ain't no skipping leg day.
They had to be in shape. They burned the fat.
And
Yeah.
they had a good diet too. Because
Yeah.
you can't eat garbage and expect to be able to maneuver like that and sustain a battle.
None of the Maroons was fat.
No.
Well, look where they was at. They ate off the land,
off the
like
land.
Benjamin do today.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't live in the mountains if you fat.
No. You gonna be he'll be that guy like, hey,
You
look,
ain't gonna be able to get
you
up
ain't
and
gonna make
down.
it. That's you gonna perish first because you can't
Yeah.
you can't carry your gear, you can't climb the you ain't
By
gonna
the
make
time you get down, you ain't going back up no more.
Yep.
Read on.
In time, these rebels, not yet associated with the Maroons living in the East, would plunder plantations, destroy cattle, and carry off slaves by force in order to survive, simultaneously causing planters to constantly live in a state of fear.
They was afraid. Afraid.
Why
We
would-
had them shook.
Why would you have to carry off slaves by force?
Because they
was
didn't know they
loyal
were
to their
slaves.
masters.
Yeah, okay, all right, I want to make sure the audience got that. Yeah, coons, hot coons.
A bunch of Sambos.
That's the ones Harriet Tubman was talking about.
Yup. Go ahead.
As a result, the planters made many complaints to the British legislation, and parties of armed forces were soon organized to kill the Clarendon rebels. The Clarendon rebels, who always traveled in small gangs without a particular leader, decided to organize themselves and appoint a chief who would protect them from the wrath of the Jamaican colonists. They picked Cujo, a bold, skillful, and enterprising man. He, in turn, appointed his brothers, accompanying and Akampong and Johnny to lead under him, and Kofi and Kyle as captains.
What do we read about that?
Hey, that's five. That's five of
We just
them.
read about that in Maccabees.
Yes.
You got a
Sound
captain.
like
You got a
Malachi's
counselor.
sons.
You want to know why? Because that's what men do. Men get together and we appoint a leader. And that leader appoints men under him. Who has the most knowledge? Who has the most organization? Then they appoint men underneath them to recruit, to exercise their skill sets so that we can work together as a unit.
Sounds like an organized nation.
That's right.
Yep.
That's what men do.
Sounds like nation building.
That's
Yes. Did you ever notice that wasn't no sisters out there fighting?
No, it wasn't.
You know what it was? They didn't fall for the feminist okey doke.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
The feminist okey doke made our sisters go out and get jobs. So now you got to work 80 hours a week. You gotta go out of work, then come back home, take care of the family. You stressed out, you upset. When all you had to do was marry a good man that keeps the commandments of God and stay at home, relax yourself, be less angry.
The feminist okey doke got our sisters going on Kevin Samuels getting bashed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Saying. Remember, this is what men did back in the day. And this is what men are doing today.
That's right.
That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to continue to do. So, I wish we had more time, bro.
Yeah, me too,
Wish we had
man.
more
This
time.
this was a good one.
But we're going to move on to the next part of the show, which is Kingdom Music. All right, Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ bless. This is Kingdom Music. Hey, look, go to originalroyaltyrecordings.com. If you have not gotten the Benjavites' new album,
Better Days,
you are asleep. You're very asleep. You need to wake up.
man,
Come on.
That concert, man.
Hey, if y'all was at Passover, the concert was lit. The concert was off the chain. I'm telling y'all. That concert was off the chain. Lord's will, we're going to have another one.
Lord's will.
But look, if y'all ain't heard Psalms 149, the judgment written, bro, you sleep.
That thing is insane.
Bruh, that thing is insane.
Literally.
Compliments to the first track, Insanity. Bruh. Go get it. Go buy it. Download it. Listen to it. Get it in your spirit. Feed your brain with some righteous music.
That's right.
Scroll down. We have Jeremiah. Here is the patience. That album go fire. Hamburger.
Get some R&B in your life.
You need that R&B in your life. If you ain't got that R&B in your life, you sleep. Yeah, they don't make them like they used to. Where the other albums at? I want to see the Benja Vice joint. They ain't got it up there? Well, it is on iTunes already. All right? So my iPhone people, go ahead and get it on iTunes. All right? I don't know what Android going to do. Maybe y'all got to get a platform or something like that, or, you know. Oh, they can actually get Apple Music on Android? Oh, okay. All praises.
Look, I'm sure it's on YouTube Music already.
y'all Android people, y'all go get Apple Music and get the music, all right? Because, look, the music is fire. It's off the chain. It's going to be something that you're going to like, stuff that's going to feed your spirit. You don't got to listen to all that foolishness no more. Keep your eyes out because Original Royalty is going to be doing some big things in the future, all right? So I'm going to conclude my report on Kingdom Music. Yes. So all praise to the Most High. I want to thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining us with another presentation of Precept Upon Precept. The history of the Maroons. It is definitely some history to look into, especially on your own time. Look up that history. Line it up with the scriptures. Line it up with Maccabees. Line it up with Joshua. You know, look at all of the things that our forefathers did regarding their freedom that they fought for. Because we fought for freedom in this Bible just like we fought for freedom in the 16, 17, 15, 1400s. All right? So y'all continue to do that, and I pray that y'all will edify. Officer Mikael, take us away with the alms.
So look, if y'all enjoy these shows, all the radio shows across the board, support each and every one of these shows by giving alms. For this particular show, you can give alms at iuic.neworleans at israelunite.org. Also, if you want to see our leadership, our bishops, go to the four corners of the earth, give alms, donate at iuic.fundraising at israelunite.org.
Israel United in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a nonviolent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1. So I pray that you brothers and sisters have a good rest of y'all Feast of Unleavened Bread. It is going to be fire for the rest of the feast. All right. So shalom, Most High in Christ bless. We here at IUIC New Orleans, precept upon precept, say
shalom.